Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2Mnet podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling. You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I am your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me as always, Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
And we've gone from 3 to 4 to 2. It's just Mark and I on this show. So if you're missing Jens or Randy, I'm sorry. They'll be back soon though, because we've got to do the whole Game of the Year episode where we talk about our favorites, and then we're also be doing the whole where we take all the games that we've all played this year and do some other configurations and try to put that into the 25 best of 2020. And well, man, if you thought the last show there was a lot of stuff going on, there's not so much stuff going on from the grand scheme of things, because pretty much we're in that kind of like
it's
low
all about
period.
One game.
Yeah. Yep. We're in that low period where everybody is kind of just getting the look back at the year ready, and it's all focused on one game, which, again, would have been nice to have Jens or Randy or both on, because all three of those guys are playing that game. So only Mark will be able to give you his, continuous thoughts on it.
I know what Jens would say, so we're okay.
And, well, I mean, they're playing on a different console than you are, so it's also nice to have the perspective from different console side. So, yeah, I mean, it's nuts. There is a lot to go through. In fact, I don't know if I announced it on this show, but one of of course, we are the official podcast at W2Mnet.com, but we are also partnered with Last Word on Gaming, which basically spun off the Last Word on Life, and now Last Word has their own gaming site instead of just being packed in with the entertainment. And there's actual like games writers and everything like that. They do some good stuff, and part of that, of course, that comes with that is you got to write news. So I kind of got back into the groove of, which is something I hadn't done since being, writing for Got Game, back in freaking like the 2012s, 13-ish time. So that first one was the story of Cyberpunk 2077 deciding, CD Projekt Red, because of Cyberpunk 2077's issues on the consoles, basically having to come out with an announcement and having to tell people that we're sorry that we didn't pay more attention to the Xbox and PS4 versions of the game, and that, you should still give us a chance and rock with us for our two big updates that we're doing in January and February, while we also do some other hotfixes, such as the one that's already live right now, the hotfix 1.5, which seems to have fixed a few things for people. I don't know, Mark, if you can expound on that any.
I'll get into it when I discuss how my experience playing the game.
Okay. So that's happening. So there is a positive there for especially the development team for CD Projekt Red, which is unfairly having to deal with the brunt of everything here, because they're the ones that put their time into making the game and to putting their passion on the game, and then management in one swoop made a bunch of bad decisions and just put a bunch of terrible clout around this game. And it's very unfortunate, again, because, and I'm sure Mark can attest to, and especially people playing on PC that have a lot less issues, it's actually pretty good. It's just the people the other, folks on PS4 and Xbox and whatnot that are really wanting to play it are, having to deal with all these freaking issues. And the major thing that I've taken out of having to do both of these stories, because there's another one, aside from this one as well, I'm pretty sure most of y'all know what it is by now. Unless you're just listening to this and been living under a rock. But, it's nuts. This game goes from being one of the most highly anticipated games of the entire year to now them having to come out with this statement of, hey, give us time. We're going to make this game better. It's not going to run as great as it would on next-gen consoles or on PC, but we'll make it, work as it should. We're going to have one patch come out in January, one patch comes out in February, and, the worst part of it all, which leads into the second story, is the last part of the original statement is, if you don't, want to give us a shot, you can go and request a refund from the console manufacturer's digital store or from your retailer. And lo and behold, after they have a investors call, CD Projekt Red didn't talk to Sony or Microsoft. They just stated this in a statement that they made for everybody to read in bright yellow background with every management's name on it on the bottom, basically telling everybody, hey, go bug your PlayStation or Xbox support teams and get them to give you a refund. And then also, somehow these retail stores that never give you refunds on opened products are going to all of a sudden give you refunds on open products. But hey, if they don't help you, you can go to this email and we might help you, which apparently has worked with Best Buy. Best Buy has now stated that they will be doing refunds, at least for the 2 days that are left on their
21st.
Their 21st. Now, granted, part of this is because they're going to go on a Christmas break, so they won't be around to be, doing these refunds. But
here's the problem though, is you have to imagine some parents got this game for their kids, or it's probably
or maybe
up.
they're older teens.
Yeah, it's just wrapped up. And when little Johnny opens the game on December 25th and sees it busted to shit, and you're like, what?
Yeah, and I think that's partly why they really wanted to make sure that they got at least another hotfix in before they went on break. If they even get to go on break now with so much stuff going on, I wonder. But, let's just talk about this first part before we get into the second part, which is even more damning, I think, for the reputation of this studio. What do you think about this entire thing? The first part just reads hey, we took your money, but we're sorry. We should have paid more attention, but we didn't.
I mean, on one hand, it's kind of nice because, look at EA. They've been fucking over people for years. They don't say that.
Right, but I mean, it's they also acknowledge the whole, well, we didn't let you make a decision by not letting reviewers have the, PS4 and Xbox One versions prior to launch. It's oh, that's great to say now, right?
Well, they didn't let reviewers have any version except for the PC one.
No, that's what I'm saying. They didn't let, okay, but the point is, they knew the PC version was good. They didn't have to worry about the PC version. That's why you only got the PC version, and why they didn't even let you. They even went as far as not letting anyone post their own video footage. I mean, that is really bad. When you constrict someone's ability to do their review and tell them, no, you cannot use your own footage until a couple of days later, that's you're basically telling everybody, we want to make sure that for the first couple of days, people buy this game and don't hear anything negative about the game.
Yeah.
I
guess my point is, but other companies have done that for years.
I know I'm not saying that it's, they're the only ones. But to just really, it's one thing to do what Bethesda does, and which I wonder if they're going to do now that Microsoft owns them. And 2K does, where they pretty much tell you, you're not getting review codes early for our games. We don't believe that,
or at all.
I know, but I'm just saying, they went on that crusade, especially Bethesda, of we're not giving out review codes early anymore.
Yeah.
And then 2K kind of followed suit. And, you know, I talked about what happened with, 2K Battlegrounds, on an, older episode. But, like, it's one thing which, CD Projekt Red did as well, using the third party, terminals thing, of not giving out codes until like a week before, or for a lot of people, a few days before, right? And like, that's kind of, it sucks, but that's not like out of the realm. But to say you cannot show any bugs of this game at all, or like show any of your footage because we know you're going to show bugs, right? That we don't want people to see. I mean, that's just shady and it's misleading. Like,
yeah, but that's the whole point of marketing, is to mislead the customer.
I don't know. I guess we're looking at it in two different wavelengths here, but
yeah, I mean, it's bad, sure, but I mean, that's, of course, you're going to try to make the game look as good as possible within like a legal standard, or like.
Right, but then you're having to do the third part of this statement, which is having to go through and issue refunds because you didn't let people make their own decision.
I mean, let's look at like WWE, the last one. Think about what a mess that was. You didn't see 2K offering refunds or even apologizing. They're just,
right.
We're gonna pump out new characters and, go screw yourselves.
I mean, that's fair, but it's also like a very lesser, like, we're talking about a niche product of a niche product.
No.
I mean,
not that. That thing is pretty big. Or like,
I know, but we're not talking about 8 million pre-orders.
Yeah, but look at like Battlefield, what was it? Battlefield 4.
Oh, and I agree. If we're going to talk about an EA game, we're going to talk about Anthem, or we're going to talk about, Fallout 76 or whatever.
Like, it's a problem of expectation. People get too hyped up. And then, if marketing just kind of lies, it kind of, talk to the wizard, because we're behind the scenes trying to make this thing work, or, even if, of course.
Yeah, I mean, marketing did its job. Whoever's doing the marketing and PR for this company is winning and losing at the same time. But, like, I
think it's funny that, like, my local Best Buy still has a big Cyberpunk 2077 banner, like, on their windows. Like, geez.
Yeah, I mean, you're still seeing commercials. I will say, when we get to the second story, that Microsoft, for their part, is at least doing good for the consumer when it comes to what they've decided to do. But yeah, I mean, so here's the other cause and effect that I mentioned of Cyberpunk 2077 has these issues, right? It's not an unplayable game. So it's not like an unplayable game. It's not a completely broken game. The funny thing that seems to happen is that, like, depending on your PS4 individually, you might experience more bugs than the next person that has a PS4.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Like,
I would attribute that to, like, there have been instances where console, like, the old Sega Genesis, for example, like, they had different sound chips in it. So, depending on the model you had, games would sound different.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's a matter of, like, how old the components are, how bad or how good the thermal paste is, or, if it's overheating or not, stuff like that. Yeah.
That's interesting to know, like, when you got your hardware, maybe where you got your hardware, if you, got it, secondhand off, on eBay or something like that, or, out of a pre-owned at GameStop, or if you bought it new at the store, that could all matter, in this case.
I mean, think about having, if you still had like an original Xbox 360 launch model compared to like the last one they put out. I think it was like the Slim or the E or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like, those games could technically run on both, but you have a lot more danger, like running into a red ring of death, or, an issue of your Xbox just breaking, trying to run like one of the big last 360 games on that old model.
And the game getting stuck in there and not coming out. And, like, it was a scary time to have one of those.
Yeah. I don't know.
360s.
There are a few people who still have like the original launch model 360, like it just never broke, or they never had an issue.
That's crazy.
When the failure rate on those things were at least like 30%, if not more. Like,
I had mine for a long time, and then right before I was supposed to go to California for E3 2009, I got the Red Wing. So while I was in Los Angeles, it was being shipped to their facility so I could they could send me a new one.
Right.
And then that one, thankfully, never had a problem until I got the 360S or whatever it is.
Yeah, the first revision, the big one.
Yeah, not the Elite.
Right.
The like slimmer one that's black. So, and that one's, I still have it. It's over here. The only problem with that is that sometimes the hard drive just wipes itself randomly.
That's weird.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's what happens when you have those hard drives were not the best either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so, like, the cause and effect of not telling Sony, Microsoft really, they were kind of like, alright, you can go ahead and have a refund. Like, we don't have this really strict return policy. We can obviously see that there's problems, whatever, have at it, right? They weren't doing these, like, extreme, like, full refunds, but if you asked, they were pretty much giving them to people. Sony was, what the hell? Like, no, we're not doing this. Like, this goes against our policy in every single way, because their policy is pretty much like when you buy something at the store. You download it, it's yours. You stream it, that's it. You cannot return this thing. So when, CDPR releases this statement, Sony's like, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean we gotta do refunds for this game? Like, we're not doing this. Yeah. So, and there's actually chat messages where people have posted where they flat out, had their customer service people say that they're not, and that people need to just wait for those patches because you're not getting a refund. And then all of a sudden comes out the news that Sony delists Cyberpunk 2077 until further notice. And that is a huge deal. Like, to just completely remove a game from sale on your store. Now, granted, if your local whatever store you go to buy games is still selling it physically, you can go buy it physically all you want to. They're not stopping you there. But you're not going to be able to buy it new on the PlayStation Store until they deem that, that it's, okay for people to buy again, which may be January, maybe February, right? So maybe a couple of months. And, yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, this has been done before, not to this scale.
Well, but okay, like, usually it's something like Batman Arkham, right? Where Warner Brothers decided we're doing it because it's bad, right?
That was on Steam also. Like, the console version just ran okay. But yeah. I mean,
that was like the inverse, actually. Yeah.
The two games I can think of, at least for PSN, would be Afro Samurai 2, where, like, that game was such a disaster. Like, such a bug-filled mess. They were like, no. Even I think the company itself pulled it down.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. The company itself had already agreed to pull it down.
Yeah. And the other one, there are, like, other free-to-play games, but the one I'm thinking of was, like, Marvel Heroes, but that's because the company, like, went bankrupt and then took the server down. So they're like, all right, well, we're going to pull this down because what's the point of having it?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, that, but, like, the thing is, with this, Sony put out that statement, and then, like, CDPR doesn't put out a statement until, not granted, there's a time difference, a big time difference, because Sony's in California. I mean, probably the Ask PlayStation account is probably being manned in California, whereas, the CDPR folks are over there in Poland. There's a time difference. But, like, there was a big time difference between when Sony put out theirs and CDPR put out theirs, and CDPR kind of tried to make it seem like it was a joint thing, and this really wasn't a joint thing. This was Sony saying, okay, you want us to do refunds? Well, our refund policy basically says we got to declare your game defective, and we got to remove it. And I watched Modern
Vintage Gamer, I think that's what it is on YouTube, talk about, like, Sony's certification process, about, like, this game probably passed cert, at least initially, but then they were like, you have to fix all these problems. Like, every game has a day one patch, it seems like, nowadays.
Well, I mean, they also have waivers you can apply for it, too.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, he's talking about the waivers. Like, oh, you need to have these issues fixed by this date. And it's like, well, they probably, missed those, so that probably forced their hand as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's insane how crazy this has been. This whole week has been dominated by this one game and in a bad way. It's not people talking about how great the game is. You do have many people doing that, and
that'll be me later on.
Yeah, I mean, in like a PC, it's already getting, Game of the Year votes and everything else, which is getting its own vitriol because of the, base console versions not being at their best. And, it's just, again, this is transparency. A transparency issue from CDPR's perspective of, had you talked to Sony and Microsoft first, you probably wouldn't be getting your game delisted, right? Because you would have been able to come up with a deal that may have got you to keep the game on the store, but you have to show that you bought the game before a certain date, and if you buy the game after this date, then you cannot be refunded or whatever, because this is after the time that you should have known that this game has problems right now.
I mean, it'll be funny when I review the game and then request a refund.
Well, if you want to do that, I guess you could. Even though I don't know how you're going to do that because it's, I have to go back to me. But,
that'd go to me because you gave me the code.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, wallet. You could just refund your own PSN. Yeah, that's true. So that's probably easier for them because they just give you the credit back.
Yeah. It's a shame. Like, I talked to Jens, we were talking earlier. Like, he's had a reasonably okay experience on it. Mine has gotten somewhat better. Like, I actually played a few nights ago. I played for like 4 hours straight. And I was like shocked because.
Oh, that's a first, right? Because normally it keeps crashing like every hour and a half.
Yeah. I played like a pretty long story mission and I was like, wow, I got crashed like at the very beginning, but like once I started that mission, it was just kind of good for the rest of the night. And I was like, wow. I think my problem is I always like put it in sleep mode, and I don't think it likes that too much.
Yeah, another one of these games that doesn't like sleep mode.
When I come back, it's fine for like 20 minutes, and then a half hour, and then it eventually crashes.
That happens too. Like, I normally don't do that because there are some games, even on the Xbox side that, even the Switch will do that with some games too, where if you have it just playing and you've done the sleep mode and you've had it in sleep mode for a while and then it comes back, it'll just randomly crash.
Yep.
So, I try to avoid that so it doesn't happen, but yeah, that's the thing. I hate it the most for the developers because all the people that are playing on PC are really getting to experience the game that they wanted you to experience, right? And people that are playing on, the consoles that Jens, yourself, and Randy are playing on, and then, a lot of other people that have been able to get these new consoles are experiencing a much different game than even the ones that are playing on the One X and PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
And then that is different than, if you're playing on PS4 and Xbox One. So, that's the thing is, yes, it is going to be that way because there's a graphical power difference with all these consoles, but, it's just weird. It's just, I think it shows that CDPR, because they were a PC company, first and foremost, when they figured out they were getting too ambitious, they really needed to figure out if it was worth it to release on PS4 and Xbox at the time, or do you just wait for the new next-gen consoles, or, I don't know, or release it in early access.
That'd have been funny.
Right, on PS4 and Xbox One. Xbox has that game preview thing, and Sony does have some games from early access on there. They have Attentum right now. So, like, it's just weird to me that you have all these options out there, and just because I guess the shareholders and the suits just wanted to make sure that this game got out there because, those consoles are for those new, and I wonder, what do you think, Mark? Like, do you think maybe CDPR also thought there wouldn't be this bottleneck of people not being able to buy the new consoles? Like, maybe they thought more people would have the new consoles by the time this game came out?
No, because you have to imagine Sony and Microsoft would have been telling them, like, hey, we don't have, because of COVID or whatever, we don't have as many of these things that were supposed to be out in the first place.
Well, I mean, you've also got the problem with the bots and the scalpers and everything that are taking consoles that could go to these consumers, right, that actually want to play the games and not hoard them.
It's funny, like you said last week about, like, every day I see, I think it's like Water 64, people on Twitter talking about like PS5 restocks. I never see it for Xbox.
Yeah, if you do, it's every once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
but like it seems like
and even then, Series S is a lot more restocked than the X.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, I always see like, the PS Direct, you know, the queue is open up in 30 minutes or whatever. So it's like, alright, that's nice. But I never see that for like Microsoft or.
And the fact that like, when Microsoft does do theirs, their shipping is delayed.
Yeah.
Like people that got them, I want to say like a couple of days before Cyberpunk was supposed to, during like Black Friday week, they had some, right? And then Cyber Monday. Well, those are not shipping until the 23rd. Like, wow. And then Sony, I got mine and it came in 2 days.
Right.
So it's crazy also just how.
Well, Sony actually uses a shipping company, right?
Well, they use FedEx.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, they also are cool and give you the option to do express shipping if you have PS Plus, which.
Yeah.
You know, at least they don't charge you for like, you know, GameStop does where like, okay, cool, you get the Edge one if you have the Power, whatever that thing is now, the Pro membership, but you're still paying money.
I'm still waiting for a Best Buy delivery from like almost 2 weeks ago. The damn post office.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For a game?
I ordered a DVD or Blu-ray on like the 7th. And they're like, well, we'll get it to you eventually. And like, the post office says they still don't even have it. So it's like, I know they're wrong. I know Best Buy handed it off, but who knows where it is.
Yeah, it seems to be an issue with the post office. I'm really worried about a piece of mail that I just had to send off a couple days ago too. It's just, go ahead, sorry.
It's a bummer for CD Projekt Red. Like, I see like people like, oh, this damages their credibility. It's like, not really. Gamers have notoriously short memories for stuff like this.
I wouldn't say that. I think a lot of people will still hate EA for so many of the things that.
That's because EA does it every 6 months or every year they screw up. Like,
yeah. I mean, there's still a lot of people that don't like certain things Ubisoft does or Activision or. Yeah, there's still going to be that large pocket. And I think until those patches prove, now if those patches come out and they really prove to be what makes a huge difference in that, how that game plays, that changes the story of that game.
Right.
Right? It's now a comeback story. It's now, okay, now we're playing the game the way it should have been at launch. You'll still get the whole talk about it should have been delayed, all that blah, 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 which, Bloomberg, Jason Schreier, posted a developer kind of version of all this stuff. And, according to people that were present at some of these meetings, it seems like there was always this pressure from shareholders and from, the people in management that they had these really unrealistic deadlines. They would say things, the game's ready when everybody knew it wasn't. They're also the ones that control these statements that come out, that have come out on Twitter where perhaps maybe they would have accepted more of the blame if you had a different management. And, cause that's one thing I'll say is that a lot of these PR statements, yes, they're saying I'm sorry, but a lot of it also is kind of deflecting blame. There was a lot of people talking about, oh, it's Sony's fault for CERT and Microsoft's fault for CERT. It's like, I don't think most of you people even know what CERT is for. Yeah. That are sitting here talking about it and blaming Sony because you don't want to blame CD Projekt Red because, oh my God, they did a lot of great stuff for Witcher 3, which they did, but this is a different game and this is a different time. So,
that's what I mean by people have short memories. Like when Witcher 3 launched, it was kind of a busted mess.
Yeah, it was. Even when it came out on the Switch version, they had to patch it a bunch of times before.
Honestly, same with Witcher 2.
Yeah. And then it came to console way later, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think we're in that era now.
Every Witcher game has had basically the enhanced edition, which is the, finally patched and actually working edition.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny in its own way. I wonder if they're going to rename Cyberpunk like that.
The Cyber Edition. Well, it's like, everyone I'm playing the PS4 version because the PS5 one isn't out yet, or the Xbox Series X one isn't out. Like, I'll be curious how that one runs, if it runs better or worse.
Well, I mean, it should run better. I mean, these are supposed to be optimized for those consoles, so.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, but, I mean, who knows, they're probably trying to put tamp on the disaster fire of this version, so they're probably not working on that one too much anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, leaves me pondering if somebody in management is sitting there trying to rush them to also put the PS5 and Series X, or the Series versions out so that maybe people kind of forget about these. But yeah, on my end, I feel like Sony did the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't talk to us. You kind of just said everybody needs to come get refunds. Well, we'll give you refunds, but we're not going to keep selling your games so that people can keep getting refunds later. Like,
yeah, it's like that just creates more headache for them.
The weird thing is Microsoft is doing the opposite. Microsoft is keeping the game on the store.
They put up a warning saying like performance may vary or something like that.
Yeah, they certainly did, and I applaud them for that. And I also applaud Liana Rupert. Oh, I can't. From Game Informer, who's done a fantastic job in reporting that Cyberpunk 2077 could cause seizures and epilepsy. People that have epilepsy, their issues with that game, and it made CD Projekt Red have to change things for that as well. But
yeah, I've seen that, like that thing they use in that thing. Like the first time I saw it flashed like 6 or 7 times, and then like now whenever I use that like one item, it flashes like once and that's it.
That's a big difference. But I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, like, they're gonna recover from this. It's just right now, this doesn't look good, and especially coming at a time when we're at the end of the year, people are kind of thinking about what do we do here with Cyberpunk? Like, are we only praising the PC version? I mean, then, IGN had the PS4 and Xbox One review, and it was like a 4, and some other folks are doing the same thing where they're having I mean, it's been a long time since we've really had to review, like, you've had people review a game so differently on one console than another. A lot of times, like for at least for us, I don't do the whole we do the, in the game information, I do tell you which version of the game is being reviewed, but I don't put it in the actual title because for most games, they play pretty much the same. Other than like being better graphically on PC or whatever. But this is so different that they had to completely review it, for those versions. So it's weird to see all of that coming, for, CD Projekt Red at the time. And yeah, I think they'll improve this. They'll get some of their reputation back. It's just, I really hope that a lot of things come out of this that go in a positive direction. Like, I really hope that Navy players or, gamers will not go crazy about pre-ordering so much. Like, let the game come out and breathe a little bit and witness the stuff that's wrong with it for yourself.
Yeah, but then how are we supposed to get Twitch views by doing that?
I guess you got to figure out something with that if you want to do your Twitch views. I think also, I wonder if this really puts a pause on some folks that are doing cross-gen games right now and makes them go, wait a minute, are we doing too much for this other version to work? I'm really looking at Halo Infinite. Are they still going to wind up putting it out on Xbox One when it comes down to whatever fall 2021 means for them? I mean, is Sony considering anything with Horizon, Forbidden West? I mean, I would tend to trust Sony a lot more because, I mean, they already have 2 games to show that they can do it without much issue, right? In Sackboy and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So,
or, if the Horizon Zero Dawn Guerrilla Games said, hey, like, ultimately we can't make a PS4 version or this won't be good. Sony would probably just be like, alright, fine, make it as PS5 exclusive and we'll take the brunt. But it's better than releasing a game that doesn't work for,
Yeah, I mean, but that's also, I think, it's easier to make when you're first party, right? When you know you have all those PS5s coming in and people are going to keep buying that thing. And like CDPR, it's like, yes, people are still buying Witcher, and I'm sure when they have season 2 of The Witcher, people are going to buy it more. But like, you need as many people to buy Cyberpunk as you possibly can. And like, if you don't release it on those 2 consoles, how much of a hit do you take?
Yeah.
You know, but you could have, in turn, delayed it again, which I know that would have made a lot of people upset, and would have made shareholders upset and retailers upset and everything else, but there was that option, and they did not take that. They could have delayed it again till February, right?
Yeah. I mean, think about, the game was really scheduled for like April, right? Think about how busted that version would have been.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, if it would have come out in April, like even the November 17th version, I mean, whatever the 21 days did that they released this version, you know, and it's like December 10th hit and they go, well, we cannot delete this anymore. It's going to come out right now. And it's just, okay, I guess it will. But I think also not just from that perspective, I think the biggest thing for me is I think Sony and Microsoft need to come up with a more digital friendly return policy.
Sure.
Like, I think Steam's works pretty well. Maybe you need to expand that a little bit more to not just 2 hours, but
yeah, but the thing about Steam is that they'd like browbeat into doing that. Like,
yeah, I mean, granted, I think you have to have more than just this one debacle. I think you're going to have more, you know, maybe another one. I mean, Microsoft already has kind of more of a less lenient one, but
yeah, but like, remember, Steam's return policy was pretty much started by, well, the result of GOG, because GOG owned by CD Projekt Red. So,
yeah,
there you go.
Well, maybe so. I mean, and then of course they've had to make some decisions because Epic, made some, decisions. I wonder if Microsoft were to come out and just change their policy to add a playtime mechanic to theirs, if Sony would, you know, eventually change theirs a little bit too. I just think with like, you're selling digital consoles now. Like, digital only. People do not have the option to go to any store and just go, okay, well, I mean, granted, you can't really go to the store and just say, I want to return this if you opened it already, but still, I mean, if the game doesn't work well, you know, or it just wasn't for you.
That's the thing, though, the PS5, I mean, the PS4 is no digital only PS4. So it's,
yeah, with the PS5, yeah.
Yeah, and the PS5 version runs reasonably okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, too, is like, I get it that there's going to be people that are going to abuse it, right? There's going to be people that are going to use that as well, I rented it, I didn't like it, so I want a refund now.
Right.
And that's what Sony doesn't want, but I don't know. I think you need to figure out a better system than this, like, oh, that's it. You downloaded it, you're stuck with it. Like, oh, it didn't work. Well, okay, forget it.
Time to bring back game demos.
Yeah. Or that. Maybe you just, you know, I don't know that they could do was it Xbox Live Arcade that promised game demo for every freaking game?
Yeah. They actually did, though. I think, or at least most Xbox Arcade games. You know, you played it for like 20 minutes. That was cool, though. Yeah.
Like before, you know, back when indies were way less, you know, of a known quantity, and you really kind of were in the sea of the unknown at that point. Like, it was good to be able to play a game and know, okay, I like this. I want to give my money and know I'm going to like this game. Whereas, you know, you want people to give you a shot, but you forgot that they already gave you $60. And I mean, they don't have to give you a shot again if they.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, PR wording, not the greatest, for CDPR, during this time period here, but let's hope for everybody involved they can improve this game and the developers get some, you know, sweet vengeance and everybody gets to experience that game the way they wanted them to. Speaking of, because y'all didn't get enough of us talking about this thing for 45 minutes, what is your current experience with Cyberpunk 2077?
Mine's pretty good. Well, I should kind of rephrase. I'm like hacking the game on PS5, kind of. Or there are glitches in the game that make it way more fun and enjoyable to play.
What are those glitches?
Well, here's a good example. There's an item you can get, like, money is kind of scarce in the game, I think, overall. Like, stuff is just kind of cheap. And like, you know, if you want the good mods, it's like, oh, you want this cyber mod for like 30,000 credits. It's like, well, I got like 4, you know, like, it's going to take me a while to save up. So there's an item you can get in the game, from a side mission. It's like a famous painting in the game, and you can sell it for 4,000 credits. And if you sell it, you can go right back into the store and buy it for 5 credits. So it's like, I can make 20,000 credits selling this item 5 times, and it only cost me 25 to get it back. How interesting. So basically, you can get infinite money in the game, which I got. One of the weapons in the game is a one-shot kill on any human enemy. Like, one hit, they're down. It's hilarious.
Damn, really?
It does not work on, it's like a tranquilizer dart launcher thing in your arm. So it doesn't work on like pure mechanical enemies, like a drone or like a turret. But any human enemy, even bosses, you can knock down in one hit. And it's like, well, they probably didn't intend for this, but I like it. There's an item duplication bug where you can copy any item you want in the game. It's in your inventory. They probably didn't intend for that either. And there are areas in the game that, like, the game world is not entirely solid. And what I mean by that is, like, it's stable, like, it's okay, but, like, one time I got too close to a building, and I, like, clipped through the building, like, the door by accident, and I could see, like, the entire game world, like, laid out. And I was like, that's not normal. Like, so, there are people who have discovered there are other buildings in the game world that you're not supposed to get to, but you can just kind of clip right back into, or just do some fun mods to get back into. So I've been doing some of that. That's cool. This is what I mean by some of the glitches in the game aren't exactly bad. But it's not crashing on me as much. I
wonder if they will wind up patching that or not.
Well, it's funny because the patch just went out today, like a hot fix like a few hours ago. Mm-hmm. And right as it was going out, I hit cancel because I duped that painting I had like 400 more times. And the game updated, and I was like, well, let's see if they fix that. Nope, they didn't. I was all right. I'm happy. So I've had some weird instances. I've had some graphical problems here and there. And there was at least like one character, she was talking, but like her mouth wasn't moving at all. Like, and I was like, that's a little odd. Yen's had a problem where, the Keanu Reeves character is a major part of that game, and he had no audio. You could just read the subtitles, what the character is saying. And it's a way to say, he basically just saved and like closed the game out and reloaded it, and then it was fine. But like, those are the more weird issues that, that we run into. But I still like it. I think it's really good. I mean, personally, even with the bugs. I mean, it kind of, especially because of some of those bugs I just mentioned.
So how is are you enjoying the story? Are you?
Yeah, it's getting better.
Enjoying the character?
Yeah. I mean, the story's good so far. The game kind of splits off into 2 tracks at a certain point. We have to like do 2 of these missions. Or like, series of missions. My problem with that game really is I don't like how CD Projekt Red makes it, like, their game direction is weird. Because like The Witcher 3 had this, where it's like, you have to find this character named Dandelion. And to find him, you have to do like 10 to 15 quests to get to him. And it's like, that's not fun. Do like 2 or 3, and then let's just get on with it. I don't want to do more, I have to keep slogging my way through these side stories that I don't care about. And, it does the same thing. Like, Cyberpunk really does the same thing. You have to, like, find this one character, but you, like, go damn near all over the game map to, like, do these quests to, like, unlock her. And it's like, this is not fun. Like, I don't care about this at all. So, I mean, the story's keeping my interest, but, like, I just don't like that type of game direction. I don't know about you, but.
Well, I mean, like, why do you not like the...
It just feels like busy work. Like they're just padding it out more and more. And it's like, just get on with it. Or, just make this more like side quest stuff. Like, don't make it like main game. But,
yeah, I mean, are you liking the side quests? Or?
Most of them are pretty easy. Well, especially since I can one hit kill anything. I've had a few of these, the sex scenes, and they are like really bad. Like they're laughable in a sense because it's like first person. It's kind of a continuous scene. It's like being like, it's like spliced together like a porn film. And it's like, this is really weird. Like, it would be less awkward if it was just like one, like 2-minute long or sequence. But the fact, like, I had one with, a woman in a tank. And like, it is like softcore porn. Because, they kept changing angles like every 2 or 3 seconds. And it's like, don't, like, if you're gonna have a sex scene, just have a sex scene and get on with it. Don't make it, like, be like a really childish sex scene. Like, I've had at least like 2 of those. And one is when you're playing as Keanu, you meet this chick at like a club. And yeah, they're like having sex all over this, green room, like, his green room. And it's like, this is the most like goofy thing you can imagine.
Oh, I mean, isn't this, what Cyberpunk's all about? Just do crazy shit right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, but they just show it I think they just show it straight. Like, they wouldn't have it cut up into, 3,000 different angles.
I guess they wanted to make sure people, got the most they wanted out of those sex scenes,
Well, there are a few, I've done at least 4 or 5, but they call them brain dances. Did you ever play Arkham Knight?
No.
Okay, how about Remember Me? Remember that thing?
Okay, that, yes.
Remember those memory remix scenes where you could watch a scene and then hit a cue, play it over and over and like pick different stuff out? That's kind of a big book of that game.
I mean, it's been so long since I played that game.
Yeah, that game came out, I think, 10 years ago. But, Cyberpunk has that. Basically, you watch a sequence, you watch it first person, and it's like a minute, 2 minutes long, and then like you rewind it, and then you have like basically a third person camera where you can like pause the action at any point and then like examine stuff or look for clues and stuff like that. Like, I am honestly surprised these sex scenes aren't like part of those sequences.
Well, I mean, are you like liking the characters and?
Oh yeah, I really like the characters. I think it's a good story, more or less. I like Keanu's character. Like, he's getting better. Like, at first he's a real jackass, but now he's like slowly becoming like a character. I think I might be further along than Yen, but not by much. Cause like, when the game splits, he did one part, I did the other. And now we're like crossing the story past where we missed. I was like, did you do this one mission? He's like, no. And I was like, that's kind of a main story mission. And he was like, I didn't do that. And he's like, did you do this one? I'm like, no, that's one I have to go do. So, but yeah, I like it. I mean, probably be on my game of the year list when it comes out in a few weeks or whatever. Even though you can't buy the game anymore digitally.
Well, you can on PC. You just can't.
Yeah.
PS.
Well, I saw someone, I think on Jeff Gertzman's Twitter or Tumblr go like, oh, what do you think of PS5 with Cyberpunk, digitally on its worth? Like, about $50.
People are really trying to see what they can get the most out of it there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, that's the thing is, I'm using glitches to my benefit, but even if I wasn't, I think it's mostly fine now, or it's getting better, slowly better. Like, it isn't crashing as much, at least it seems like.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good that the fix that they put in is working.
And it's good the infinite money glitch is still working too. I hope they don't fix some of these glitches. Cause like, one of the glitches is hilarious because one of the things you can do in the game, you can buy this one upgrade, you can basically like, when you dodge, you basically like, jump out of the way real quick, but you can also slow down time. And someone figured out a way to like massively increase your speed and distance when you do that. So you can fly across like 200 feet in the game world when you do that. You're not supposed to.
Wow. That's cool. Hey, you're gonna miss all these, things that they
Exactly. That's why I duped that painting 800 times. So when they do eventually fix the glitch, you can sell them all. One funny thing is you have main jobs, like main missions, and then you have like side missions, which are like more story focused a little. And then you just have like random crimes you can just kind of stop. One of the funny things is you get calls all the time to buy cars, and it actually becomes part of your mission list. It's like, oh, go buy this car. And it's like, most of these cars are really expensive in the game. And like, if I don't even care about any of them. That's the funny part. Like, I don't know why you would ever, buy some crappy, like, pickup truck in the game. Like, but I guess Jens was saying there's an actual achievement to buy every car. And it's like, good luck. You'll need like, $2 million to do that.
I guess, good luck with that.
Yeah. But it's good. I mean, like I said, I like it. So does Jens. So I'm going to keep plugging away at it.
I think Randy was saying that he just doesn't like the way that the story is told. Like, he's not
Well, I think Jens said Randy's like bored by it, or he just doesn't like it's a very like traditional cyberpunk story.
Well, and then he's not a fan of like, where, Mass Effect does the whole, okay, you're doing choices, so you're sitting there just watching people talk.
Yeah. It has almost like no moral choices in the game. There's like a few here and there, but like you have no like morality meter or anything like that.
Yeah.
And the funniest part is I was playing it a few nights ago as I was also watching Johnny Mnemonic. I was like, this is really strange.
Well, I'm sure that Marc will continue to keep playing Cyberpunk as the days go on here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still going to bed like 6 a.m. playing that damn game.
Wow. I wish I had that luxury. I have to work every day, at least like for, if not a couple of hours when it's my days off, or like I do tomorrow, or a full shift.
Yeah.
So, but it's good. It's good that you guys are enjoying it. Good that we're not all being Debbie Downers about the game.
Right.
And that again, at least CD Projekt Red's development team, not the management team, development team, is actually working hard in getting these hot fixes out and trying to make the game enjoyable for the people that it's not for. Right now.
It's funny because I've played other games like this, like Deus Ex, and there are a few other cyberpunkish games, but I actually like this one the most.
You do?
Yeah, just because, I mean, I like exploring the city. I think the city's like really well designed. And yeah, like the powers are fun. And so it's like upgrading your equipment. And it's like a real shooter. Like, I mean, Deus Ex wasn't like a great shooter, I don't think. So this is actually a lot more fun.
Well, that's good. That's the important part, that it's fun. I'm sure that Jens is probably still, Witcher 3 is a better world and all that than as far as CD Projekt Red games go.
I mean, my favorite's still probably Witcher 2, but that's just me.
There's quite a few that like Witcher 2.
Right.
That's not too surprising, but yeah, I mean, considering how like crazy Witcher 3 exploded, folks are, I wonder how many people actually didn't. I mean, one, it's such a hard game to get anybody into because, oh my god, I tried really hard. I think I played like 2 hours of that game, and the battle system with the mouse and keyboard thing is so, oh my god. You
mean for Witcher 1?
Yeah, Witcher 1. Like, it's just, I don't know how to explain it even. Like, you had to click the mouse, right, to do the sword swipe.
Well, they were using, I think the Neverwinter Nights engine. And that's like an RPG, turn-based RPG engine. And they were using it for like a third-person action game. And it's like, good luck. Like,
I mean, it's amazing how good the game looks.
Yeah.
For being, for how old it is. But, like, the battle system of that thing is crazy. And then 2, I have it on Xbox.
I know they ported it over. Times. Yeah.
So, I mean, and Witcher 3 is like one of those that it's there on my PlayStation. I don't know. I played, I think, a couple of hours of it. I don't know that I'm going to move.
Nope.
To play it much.
That'll never happen.
Yeah. There's too many things. But I don't know. Maybe when Cyberpunk does have a sale or something, I will check it out.
Yeah.
I've just been working, writing, and playing Yakuza because I'm at chapter 15 now, finally, after I got stuck at, well, I don't want to spoil it. So I got stuck at a certain person, that you fight in chapter 14, and I had to go into the battle tower and level everybody up until like, everybody was at like level 56, which is you probably don't necessarily have to have them at level 56, but my guys were like at 40, or all my characters were at 48 before then. And I also found out that apparently he is very much like Sanji from One Piece. He will not hit girls. So there's 2 female party members, and I used both of them. So it limited the amount of the people that he could go after, and it made it much easier to just be able to, heal the 1 or 2 people. Sadly, Yakuza instills the same. Have they ever explained why in Persona they do that? Where, if the main character dies, everybody dies?
No.
I thought by now there would be some kind of lore reason why that is the case.
I mean, in Persona, you can get, like, if you build a relationship up high enough, like, someone else will take the hit for you.
Oh,
like,
okay.
You get, like, a death blow, and, like, the other character will just, like, run in real quick and take it, take him and die.
Right.
No, there's no like real reason for that. It's just an old RPG staple.
Yeah, so Yakuza does the same thing. And so I did have a few times where this boss got 2 attacks in a row, which usually doesn't happen. You at least get one character that goes in between.
Yeah.
And he wiped out Kasuga, and I had to start from my last save, which thankfully the autosave in this game is fantastic. And also I just save a lot anyway, period. But just from playing Persona and other games where it's like you really screw up if you don't save a lot.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Cyberpunk's really the same way.
Oh, really? Cyberpunk's like that too?
It has a really good autosave. I mean, also, like, it's nice because the game is going to crash a lot. Might as well have one.
Yeah.
And then they can pretty much save most places if you really want to, like manual.
Yeah, like, Yakuza, the only place you cannot save is in a dungeon, when you're in a dungeon. So, that does suck because some of those, I mean, granted, on Xbox you have the quick resume and all that other stuff, but it does suck because, there's parts of those dungeons where it's like, I don't want to go through that entire thing again. It's like to fight all those enemies and all that stuff. It's like, some of these old school mechanics, you didn't have to put them in there, but I guess you really want to be faithful.
Persona 5 had basically save rooms in a dungeon. Where you could rest up and just save or just get out of the dungeon if you really want to do.
Oh, they have that too. It's just sometimes it feels like it's too long in between and I'm just like, oh my god, I want to be done here. Can we get to the next save? Because literally in the dungeons, it's go find items, fight enemies, and go to the next stair. That's it. So, and the dungeons are not anything really great to look at. They're supposed to be like these, grungy, like lower parts of the city. So there's like nothing there to really, feast your eyes on or anything like that. At least Persona, each of the dungeons was like special.
Yeah.
So, and this one, it really is like taking the term dungeon literally. But, I really enjoy that game. I don't know how much time I've spent, because a lot of times I'm also playing that game while I'm working, so when there's a dead spot long enough for me to be able to move the character a little bit, or do a battle or whatever, it's there. So my clock says 135 hours. I'm sure it's not exactly that. I'm sure it's probably more 110 or something, but still, I have enjoyed my time with it a lot. It'll be very high on my list, and of course I'm sure on the big list. And because, Jens loves it as well. And I was listening to the music today while I was writing the article, and that music is just fantastic as well. But, go and enjoy that game. It's also on sale right now, part of the Xbox sale. I think it's at least 42 or 40.
That's the lowest price it's been is 40.
That's still a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
So, I would go definitely suggest it with all the gameplay time that you get out of it, man, and all those mini games and all those things you get to do. There's just so much to do in that game, and the karaoke's always fun. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the only game I've been playing. I downloaded all these new things from Game Pass and just never have time. Some of them look cool, I did play the first chapter of the Hivebusters DLC, and man, that game looks fantastic. And it plays really good too. You get to play as 3 different characters.
Kofi, Xavier, and Biggie.
No, not them. Keegan, Liana, and Mac. I'm probably saying her name wrong. That's the character I chose as Liana. 2 of them are African American, actually. Keegan and the female character, and Mac is an English or Scottish white guy.
Just like Kofi.
So quite the interesting pairing. And they make fun of him. They call him an outsider and whatever for a while because he's apparently he's not actually part of the team. He was just put in there. And yeah, I mean the first chapter is really fun. There's I think 4 or 5 chapters. So yeah, I still hopefully I'll get to play, with Jens one of these times, so we can experience the co-op. Sackboy finally got the online multiplayer, so hopefully I'll get to play that with Randy soon. And yeah, I mean, looking forward to stuff. I'm still pondering doing the same thing, cause if I want to do what you did and get Spider-Man before the year ends and test that out, because, I hear great things.
I won't have time to play for the end of the year. I just kind of wanted it.
Yeah. Oh, you just wanted it. Okay.
I mean, I bought a disc copy off eBay. The Ultimate Edition. It was like a tad cheaper, but I haven't been able to find that in the store.
I don't think they released a physical version of it.
No, they did.
Well, okay.
I'm getting one.
Never mind. But they didn't release too many of them. I think they.
Yeah, maybe because every copy I've seen in a store, it's like they just have the basic version.
Yeah.
And if they had one in the store, I might have actually just bought it then and there, but apparently not.
I think a lot of people assumed well, people already bought Spider-Man, they can just bring it over from their PS4, so there's not going to be a lot of people just going out and searching for this.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't make too many physical copies, of it, at that point. Still waiting to see whenever Sony's going to release their, Christmas or end of year sale and what they put on it. Last of Us keeps getting put on sale for $30. Last of Us Part 2, sorry. Keeps getting put on sale for $30. So every store, and I'm I don't want it physical.
Right.
So we'll see. I will probably break that and eventually check it out. I think Ghost I'm just gonna skip out on, for this cycle.
No one plays every game, so.
Yeah. I don't know, I just wanted to play the big Sony ones, cause, it would create talking points, but,
Hey man. Yeah. What about the big Microsoft ones?
Hey now.
Crickets.
Well, one of these days, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like if you look at their slate, they seem to have one ready for, not a huge one, right? Some of these are smaller ones, but they do have some, exclusives coming, for next year. The big ones are Psychonauts 2,
yeah, that's cross-channel, or that's, cross-platform.
Well, yeah, but that's, it's a studio that they own now.
That's the last one.
Yeah, it's the last one. And, the Medium, which that I think is also cross-gen. It's just timed for Xbox. Yeah. And, there's another one that I can't think. Oh, well, Halo, whenever that comes out. Speaking of Halo, they're going to, say sayonara this time next year to the 360 online multiplayer and all that jazz for the 360 Halo games. To be fair, you've had a long time to get the Master Chief Collection or now you can get it on PC.
It's kind of surprising though, because I think those games are peer-to-peer. So why would they? Do they need to do anything with those?
Well, you still need to. They still have to have online servers for those to play the multiplayer.
No, that's what they might have some master server list somewhere, but the whole thing about peer-to-peer is you just connect to someone else and then, you just build a server that way or a network that way temporarily.
Yeah,
so, maybe they do. I don't know, but.
There's probably money and being spent there that they could save, I'm sure, with, by that point you're gonna have another, version of not just Master Chief Collection, but you're also gonna have, Halo Infinite out, you think, unless it gets delayed.
Delayed.
Yeah, so are you really going to be going back to the 360 versions of games that are also available on the Xbox One in that big collection?
There are still people playing original Halo 2 multiplayer, so.
Yeah, it's nuts, right? It's crazy. Going beyond that, before we completely get out of CD Projekt Red, and I did mention this in my story as one of the things to look at as another way that we've seen a game taken down is now CD Projekt Red is in charge of GOG, right? So they had announced already that this horror game, Devotion, which was removed from Steam last year because they had the picture of Chinese President Xi Jinping, and then it kind of compared him to Christopher Robin. And so, that's not going to get that basically got it taken down because, China don't play, man. And GOG announced that, hey, they were going to finally release it. Red Candle Games, had issued that it's going to come out. And then, the day it's supposed to come out, nope, it's not happening.
Well, it came out, but then within a few hours, then it got pulled. Yeah.
And they had to issue apologies and,
it was extremely cowardly on their part.
Well, I mean, basically, it's like you had all this time to take the art out, and you still haven't taken it out.
I don't mean them. I mean GOG. Like, their response was like, "Oh, we've had messages from gamers, and we had to pull the game down." So, like,
yeah.
Okay. Like, when has that ever? Like, most gamers aren't going to message you to pull the game down. It's going to be like Chinese nationals.
Well, I mean, they could have also stated that, right? The same thing that happened with Steam happened here. If that's what happened. But it's like, also, it's like, you knew that was a problem. Like, why is it still there? And even if it's not there, it's like, you know, you're probably going to get some backlash here, but if you're really going to do the whole thing of putting it out, just put it out. If not, shouldn't have gone through the whole process of announcing it, getting everybody excited. There's a lot of people that like that game. It's apparently very scary and creepy. I'm kind of like, somewhat like want to check it out just because so many people talk about it, and
you know,
it every time.
It'll be funny when someone hacks through a wall in Cyberpunk and they discover that same poster.
That's
like, if you go to the corner of like Catalina and Church Street and you go behind this, if you click through this building, you'll see the poster.
Get ready, everybody. That'll make the news even more for CD Projekt Red if that happens.
Yeah.
Speaking of horror legends, Shinji Makami is thinking about retirement. As he told Variety that, he has no shortage of ideas, but he is getting old, as we all eventually do, and it really just depends on the energy that he has to want to keep doing this thing.
I mean, yeah, he's up there. I mean, as far as like a designer goes, I mean, he's 55, but Miyamoto's older, but also
Miyamoto's like, man, that guy feels like he just had this energy to it's time to crack out of Mario or
I mean, Mikami's 55 and Miyamoto's 68. I mean, that's not significant, or that's not like low. That's 13 years, but also Miyamoto's not directing games, or he's not like overseeing games necessarily like Mikami would be. Because Miyamoto's more of a management type at this point now. Yeah,
he's overseeing at certain points, but that's why Anuma-san, right, is the one that's mainly in charge of Zelda at this point.
They're making a game and then asking him, "Hey, what do you think?" And he goes, whatever. As long as my check clears, I'm happy. Did you see that video today?
Oh, what's
the Super Mario World?
No, I have not seen it, but the pictures I saw.
It was, Miyamoto was hosting it, or he was the one walking around the park.
That must have been awesome.
And he was like, "I'm Mario's dad." And then someone on Twitter was like, "I have questions about
that." Good. Well, still good that he has his sense of humor and all this years of doing this thing. It'll be cool when we can finally enjoy that time and perhaps think about going to Super Nintendo World at some point.
Yeah.
Still gotta wait. Still gotta wait to see what's gonna happen with these.
I think it's gonna open, they said it's gonna open February next year, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Japan's doing a lot better at handling this. We are. So, it's saying on that, Nintendo track, they did have the Indie World Showcase, which they announced some cool things, like Toonshay finally got revealed. That's the brawler that's made from the studio from Peru. That looked really cool. Totally down with that. I was excited to see that. Happy Game looks so freaking demented. I am a bit more interested in what that's going to have. Grindstone is already out, which I kind of want to check out, but I don't know. Got to be counting that money a little bit due to Christmas is almost here. Among Us got announced as the big game. It costs $5 on Switch, and you do have to have Switch Online to play it. So there is the caveat there that if you didn't subscribe to Switch Online, because, I mean, really, what reason do you have? Unless you're a huge Animal Crossing person.
Mario.
Yeah, that's about Mario 35, Tetris, and I mean, unless if you want to play Donkey Kong Country 3, which you can now do on the Super Nintendo Online, and then a bunch of other stuff that I've never heard of. I mean, like, they released that and then it's like, 4 other games. I'm like, were these all like Japan only?
Yeah.
Cause they seem to do that a lot where they release one game everybody knows and then it's like, alright, cool, we can say we have these other games on there. I mean, that's cool for that team that may have made that game and they finally get to see people play that, but, you know. Super Meat Boy Forever had already been kind of showcased at the Game Awards, so we got that again, and Spelunky 2 are coming. So that's cool that those are hitting in Cyber Shadow, of course.
Yeah, well, Spelunky, those will be good on Switch, I assume, you know, the portable nature of that thing.
Yeah, great for roguelikes that you can just pick it up and keep playing portably. Speaking of, a game that has done well on the Switch, Hades now has cross-save support between PC and Switch. So it got added on December 16th, and apparently this was supposed to happen at launch, but they had to push the feature. But hey, it's out there now. So if you play both versions and you want it to look its best on PC, and then you want to go portable with the Switch, you can certainly do that now. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And I'm still enjoying Hades the little bit that I do get to play here and there.
Yeah.
So there's that. EA, we talked about 2K buying Codemasters and what they would do with it, and then here comes EA, and for $1.2 billion, holy crap, $1.2 billion for Codemasters. I wonder how much of that is the F1 license. Yeah.
I imagine F1 sells big internationally. I don't think it sells well here at all, because Americans don't really care about it.
But, like, are you paying $1.2 billion for Grid and Dirt? I mean, like, Dirt has a good cachet, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, just, you know.
I mean, yeah, here's the thing. I don't know why you're saying, I mean, Codemasters makes one type of game, like just racing games. And it's like EA has a few different racing studios, you know.
I wonder if they're doing that as a backup for Need for Speed, which I'm scared of.
I mean, everyone should be scared. Considering the last 4 or 5 Need for Speed games, everyone should be scared of that franchise by now.
Well, I'm just worried this is going to be like another, hey, every 2 years, we're also going to be doing our own Need for Speed, along with Dirt or whatever, F1.
I mean, that's basically what Grid is. It's, you know, street racing, or, I mean, it's on tracks, but it's basically the street racing game, or, you know, like, legal car game, not like race cars necessarily.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny because like the guy who made, I don't know if he's still there or not. I think his name's Ian Bell. He was a guy, he was the CEO of Slightly Mad Studios. Mm-hmm. They're the Project Cars developers, and this was like years ago. But he talked about how, EA tried to like basically take over their company back in the day when they were making like Need for Speed Shift 2. And like they poached some game developers and like basically tried to like, it was almost like a hostile takeover. And he like fought them off. And now his company got bought by Codemasters earlier this year, and now they're being bought by EA. And I don't know if he's still a Codemaster. I mean, he really called out, I think it was Patrick Soderlund from EA, like basically calling it the big prick, which I thought was funny. But Soderlund's not there anymore, and I'm not sure if Ian Bell is still like the CEO of Slightly Mad, or like what I think he said he's still Codemasters, but I'm not sure like how high up he would be necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at this as a bad thing personally because EA ruins, you know, developers.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't look at a developer that EA's bought and then gone like look at their before track record and after track record.
Respawn is the one major winner.
Yeah, but Respawn only made one game.
Well, Respawn made Titanfall, and they're doing well with Apex Legends, and then they Jedi Fallen Order.
I meant like, well, I guess a story developer, let's say that. Because, I mean, EA bought Respawn after, like, Titanfall 1. So, yeah, they made Titanfall 2, and then, yeah. But, I mean, like, think about, like, you know, BioWare. Like, their EA track record isn't great. Criterion, like, no. And then, like, Maxis, they don't even exist anymore. I mean, yeah, just, like, the long and scary EA graveyard isn't great. And then if you, like, it's just depressing to me.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm worried about it, you know, on both those levels of Codemasters was doing fine. 2K would have really helped them kind of keep doing their own thing.
Well, they would have benefited the most, because, I mean, Take-Two doesn't really have racing games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, EA, shits out a Need for Speed every year, and it's usually not great.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's the reason why, but like what Codemasters does, like their racing games aren't what EA wants. EA wants like some big interconnected world, or online world, like, Forza Horizon. And it's like, well, Codemasters does not do that. They make,
even Ubisoft can't really do it very well with the crew.
Yeah. So. Like, they're flailing around with that thing. And it's like, well, if you just stop doing that and just make a good racing game, period,
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at all their, studios that they currently, I guess, own.
Yeah.
And I really can't, barring mobile, because I, don't play games with mobile, but, PopCap, what have they been?
No, they're one of the worst, actually. They're one of the more depressing ones.
Yeah, they've taken Plants vs. Zombies and make it, like, absolutely just...
free-to-play garbage.
We don't care, Yeah. Respawn, like I said, Respawn is really the only winner out of this entire thing, and that's really because he's allowed Vince Zampinella to kind of do his own thing. And then now he's trying to go save DICE, which...
here's the thing, though, is like Respawn wanted to make a Titanfall 3, and EA said no.
Yeah, it's good because they're the one Star Wars game that came out and everybody loved, instead of having Battlefront, which you had to love after they put everything else in it later. It's like,
I think, I haven't played it, but I know Yen's like Squadrons quite a bit. And that's
Squadrons, Squadrons is good, yeah.
That's the funny one, because when that game came out, they were like, oh, we're not going to do any DLC. And then they're like, crap, no, we have to do DLC, because people actually want it.
Yep. I still keep toying around with that, too, because I keep seeing that on sale, and I keep going, well, do I want that or not?
Yeah, that's like, I've seen it for it's like $16.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's almost every developer that EA touches, either they close down or a drastic, reduction in quality in games.
Yeah, that's a bad track record.
Yeah. And I'm sure you could point out to like, one or two games or franchises or whatever, like, oh, it did well under EA, but it's like, well, how is it doing now? Like,
yeah, you've got, that was a Motive game, Squadrons.
Yeah.
So, they kind of brought Motive back in, to, doing good things. And, Respawn and, yeah, Codemasters has a great track record, right? Maybe not great, but pretty good track record right now.
Yeah.
But you look at a lot of the other ones, it's just, what have they been doing?
What's EA Tiburon been doing lately?
The sports games.
Yeah.
So, DICE, they had to do the whole, delaying thing, and said,
DICE is, I guess, the one you could say that actually is the good one.
Yeah.
Because they were originally, they were independent, and then they got bought by EA in 2006. And they've been the one good EA studio since then.
Yep, it's true. Mythic had the Dungeon Keeper fiasco.
Yeah, and now Mythic doesn't exist anymore either.
Yeah, basically.
I had friends at Mythic, so...
Yeah, Hypnotics basically doesn't exist anymore. DICE with Battlefield is continuing, and, there's rumors about Battlefield 6 already, which, that's not that surprising, I guess.
Yeah.
It's good that Codemasters is, getting some infusion of, cash, but,
at what price?
Could have been.
Yeah.
What is this going to cost in
their souls, and eventually probably their jobs?
Very long one in that. Well, we'll have to see what comes for Codemasters out of this entire thing. Yep. Mortal Kombat, the movie, after it was delayed, got a new release date, which is April 16, 2021. That will, of course, be on HBO Max, along with theaters. So, if you don't want to go to the theater still when you get to April, you can watch it on HBO Max, which is now on Roku, by the way. So, And also, Funimation is on the Switch. I think we talked about Funimation last week.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll is not. But, of course, this deal's been going on for a while before they had to deal with Crunchyroll. I mean, like, those apps just don't appear one day to another. They've been having they've been having that working for a bit now, but still interesting that it's Funimation and not Crunchyroll. So, yeah, I mean, I still don't know. There's a report out that, the PS4 Pro might get discontinued. We'll see if that really is the case. Like, I also can't imagine, like, Xbox is going to be making a lot of Xbox One. Well, they discontinued the Xbox One X, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I thought they discontinued the One S, but I don't know. They discontinued one of them. It might have been the One X, because that's a more expensive one to make, probably. So,
yeah, it is stopping all Xbox One S's and One X, because why would you buy a Series S, which is basically a glorified One X, if you can still buy the One X?
I want to create more brand confusion.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you're not going to want to be making the One S all digital when you're releasing the Series S, which is also all digital. So that makes sense. But still, the PS4 Pro getting discontinued isn't necessarily out of the realm. I mean, a lot more people still decided to buy the base PS4s to the PS4 Pros. So, I would. This is, if it happens, I don't think it's, the worst thing. Most people are going for the PS5 anyway, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's not surprising. I mean, when the new console's out, they're going to keep making old ones unless it's selling really well. And you kind of doubt it is.
Yeah, I mean, and it's probably much easier for them to make those base PS4s anyway if they're still producing those at this point than it is to do the PS4 Pros. And they can just put that technology into the PS5s that people actually want. So Capcom announced that Dan is going to come to Street Fighter as part of that 5 new DLC character pack. He's coming in February. You a Dan fan?
Everyone loves a good joke character.
It's good to have those every now and then.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing. I mean, Street Fighter just, it amazes me like how they have kind of turned that game also was another like Cyberpunk, right? Where that game came out and man, it had a lot of bad press for it, especially with the single player being just totally
not there,
gimped.
That wasn't there.
It wasn't there, and then they put it in like it was like a 2-hour story mode thing, with like a bunch of scenes. And okay, that's probably not what people wanted, but it's still going strong in the multiplayer and fighting game community thing. So, I mean, cool. Dan is coming. So I remember playing with Dan.
It was this like 1 pixel long fireball and.
Hey, but I'm sure there are a lot of Dan fans out there that are excited about this now. If not, it'll create a lot of memes. Sure. Riot is now making a League of Legends MMO. I mean, so not only are they making that League of Legends, turn-based RPG, which I'm intrigued by because it's a turn-based RPG, but now they're making an MMO? God. Okay. We're doing a lot.
Here, they're doing a lot, but the problem is they're only doing it with one franchise. That's all they have.
Well, I mean, you got to, right? It's what you can do. Like, let's just make a bunch of different genres and see which one sticks. I mean, they did, to be fair, but Valorant did well in the multiplayer space, but I don't know, will this work? I'm gonna guess that they're not gonna charge for this.
Probably not. Cause it's, except for WoW, there's no other MMO charging. Like WoW and like Final Fantasy, and that's about it, and like Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls still charges? I thought they were...
They might go free to play. They might have gone free to play, I don't know. That tells you my Elder Scrolls knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, every time it does, it would show it's Elder Scrolls time. I'm like, yep, sure is. I'm going to go do something else. I mean, no offense to the people that enjoy the Elder Scrolls online or anything, but...
Not our game. We're more into Fallout segments over in these parts.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Terminator Resistance is getting an enhanced edition, which...
Why?
Yeah. That's when you're telling me, okay, this is a news item, I'm like, why is this happening? Like,
I mean, there are good games that get remastered. Like last generation, there was like Odin Sphere. That was a great remaster. Mm-hmm. Or, even games like now, like Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, you had, the Xenoblade one and Tokyo Mirage Sessions come out for Switch. I mean,
yeah.
The Crash ones, so.
But it's like, or even like, I mean, they didn't really do much, but even like Ghostbusters, like at least that was, at the core was an okay game. But like, Terminator Resistance? Really? Like, think about how bad that, like, not just the video game franchise of Terminator, but like how bad the Terminator franchise is at, like, altogether. Like.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, when I think of a Terminator, that game is not the thing I think about with Terminator, but cool.
I mean, I think of the arcade game that came out in like 1991.
Oh, yes.
That's about it.
Go to CC's and it's still there.
Yeah.
So,
but like,
why not?
Yeah, every Terminator game is like pretty bad, like universally, I would say.
And hey, something that I know I'm going to enjoy. Well, I'll enjoy this because I enjoy the anime and I still need to continue to keep watching here and there. Yu Hakusho is getting a Netflix. Is the next big anime that a lot of people love from the 90s time, to get a live action, adaptation. So this now joins the, Cowboy Bebop and One Piece, and I'm sure there's others. Let's hope they don't turn out like the Fullmetal Alchemist and Bleach ones that were not good. And which was the one that they did that actually got a sequel? Oh, was it Death Note? Death Note got a sequel?
I don't know. I know, Jens really loved Death Note.
Oh, he loved the Netflix Death Note? Okay.
I say that sarcastically because I know you absolutely hated that thing.
And I think for the most part, it's just...
I think he liked the, this wasn't Netflix, this was Japanese, I think. This was like the Phoenix Wright one.
Oh, the Phoenix Wright one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, man, to be fair, it's hard to do like anime and live action. I mean, anime lets you do so much stuff you can't do in live action, and then you're gonna try to, I mean, nothing's gonna be as bad as a Dragon Ball Evolution, I even actually went to the theater and saw that. I still feel bad that happened.
Yeah.
Yes, you're gonna get, Mr. Urameshi and his crew, Kurama, Kuwabara, PA, all them.
I mean, I guess, I don't really know Yu Hakusho that much. I just know, like, Kid becomes, like, Demon Hunter, I guess. He uses his gun as a fire, he uses his fingers as, like, a gun.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, that's probably pretty doable, in a live action sense. I mean, I would say the same thing about, like, Cowboy Bebop. Like, there's anything like
Cowboy Bebop especially because there's a lot of action and there's nothing that's like, oh my god, you can't do this, right? Like, almost everything in Cowboy Bebop has been done in some movie before.
Yeah. Well, but like there's like you're talking about a One Piece anime or, live action. It's like, how do they do that?
Yeah, like, okay, you have, like, all those powers are incredible.
Yeah.
So, and they're accented by the anime aesthetics with them, so it's like, this is gotta be a challenge. And then, I mean, also you're cutting down a almost 1,000 episode anime, and then the huge manga that goes along with it into these like section chunks, which is good for people that don't have time to watch that entire anime. But it's I don't know if it's the best way to experience One Piece.
Well, I mean,
cool.
Yeah, it's just hard to do like if they ever did like a Naruto live action show. It's like, no, don't. Please don't.
I'm sure that will come about because people still can't, especially the generation that came after us. That is their anime. That's like the one that defines them.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's going to be interesting to see how far this goes. Like, I don't think this needs to become the next Disney thing where Disney is literally taking every single movie that they possibly can and making a live action.
Right.
They're even doing a sequel to, or was it a prequel to Lion King? I don't remember, but I know they announced it during
No, it was, Toy Story.
Well, no, Lightyear, but they're also doing another, like...
Oh, God.
movie to, is it Lion King? Is it Lion King 2? Yeah, I think it is Lion King 2, and I'm like, but they're not gonna follow, the storyline of the, like, direct-to-DVD Lion King, or whatever. Yeah, it is Lion King 2. So, yeah, I mean, which Lightyear looks awesome. I'm actually excited for that. But, yeah, I mean, like, I don't think this needs to become the next Disney thing where we just take every single big anime property and like, oh, we don't need a My Hero. Like, I don't know how they would do that. My Hero live action. Nice. You know, some things can just be kept to what they are. I'm not saying you can't do them, right? If this brings in more people to watch anime, cool. Great. I'm all for that. But, man, if it's gonna wind up just being a thing that gets made fun of, I don't know if that's...
Speaking of being made fun of, I guess reviews hit for that Monster Hunter movie.
Yeah, I saw that.
Another Paul W.S. Anderson masterpiece right there.
He does not care, man. I mean, like, he knows that his movies are gonna review poorly at this point, I think. Yeah. He just knows, okay.
I mean, I read the IGN review, and the funniest part was the reviewer was talking about, like, Mila Jovovich's character, about, like, how she's inserted in awkwardly, and, like, the story, the movie should have been about Tony Jaa as the literal monster hunter. And I was just like, yeah, you could just replace this review with Resident Evil and say the same thing. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, Jens will probably be on to talk about it, and they'll talk about it on Chapter Select. Poor Randy. I mean, it may not be bad. It's just, maybe it's just kind of there. Like a lot of those Resident Evil. Like, I still can't believe they're actually putting themselves through the whole of watching all those. The actual, their thoughts on the first Resident Evil movie is actually out right now. So if you, like what you hear here and you like when Jens and Randy are on here, they don't get to talk so much about, what we do. They focus more on one game and then maybe some other games they're playing at the time when they talk about their game that they're playing, which right now it's a Binary Domain, which, if you don't know, first of all, it's not an Xbox backwards compatible game, so you cannot play it on your new consoles or even the old consoles. You have to play it on 360 and PS3, and you can play it on PC.
Yeah,
right. It's not necessarily the best version, but it's there, and it's made by Kotoku Studios, which is of course the studio that makes Yakuza games. So that's cool too. But yeah, go check that out. Jens always does great things. And for Marc, I will get his damn reviews out. I've just been having to write myself, and then Attack on Titan came out at the worst time.
Hey, I done my job, so I don't really care when they go out. Really.
Yeah, you did your job. And then, you know, I gotta truck through. I gotta get through this last chapter so I can get Yakuza done, and then we gotta get all this end of the year stuff done. So,
yeah.
I don't know, you guys keep trucking through Cyberpunk. We'll see how that goes. We'll at least have our own top 10 favorites, written and on podcast, by the end of the year, and then we'll do the big one, if not at that time too, if not a little bit after. But yeah, we'll see if hopefully CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk team can keep redeeming themselves this week coming up. And yeah, enjoy your, well, we're not going to record on Christmas, so I don't know what are we doing.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. We're not going to record on Christmas itself, obviously. We'll think of something. I'll brainstorm, you brainstorm. Whether we do it before then or maybe on the weekend when it's not Christmas anymore. And yeah, we'll see ya sometime next week for the next show. Enjoy, everyone. Watch that Mandalorian. I'm still in season 1, but watch it, and we'll see you later. Everybody.
Yeah. Later.